Hello, hello. Alright, let me just start out by saying that today, the day I'm recording this, the House of Representatives has brought out their articles of impeachment. And just on that, I just want to take a moment to just soak it in. I just wish you all a Merry Christmas. Soon will end this bigly Trumpy Christmas. Alrighty, but on the same day that the House of Representatives comes out with articles of impeachment on the president, guess what Trump did? Oh, you couldn't, if you put this in a novel, you wouldn't be accepted. He had a meeting with Lavrov, the Russian ambassador, in the Oval Office. And the media was not invited. And the readout afterward, the White House gave a readout of what they talked about, was so obviously had nothing to do with anything Trump would do. It was, they were specific that Russia needs to stop meddling in the 2020 election, and it was basically what you would expect a president to do, but it was so obviously not written by Trump, not dictated by Trump, not believable as things Trump would do. So tell me about the meeting between Trump and the Russian ambassador in the Oval Office this time, considering last time they didn't do a readout at all, they kept it all secret. And we found out from the Russians that Trump gave out code word secrets and said that basically he just fired Comey and said that Comey was, I forget what, crazy, deranged something, he said, I forget what, but, and the security services they were just beside themselves because the Russians were allowed to come in with recording equipment, but American journalists weren't, nobody else was, and so they're like, the Russians could have left they could have put bugs in there, they could have put passive stuff, they could have done all kinds of things. Yeah, just here, come into the Oval Office. Oh, and here, let me do all of my talking on an unsecure mobile phone. So let's look at the, traitor and tradee, who's benefiting from the traitorous. So, Trump. Here are the articles of impeachment. Merry Christmas. You say we don't say no, but we're not allowed to say Merry Christmas anymore. Oh, trust me. Lots and lots and lots of people are saying Merry Christmas. And yes, actually it is because of you. Trump, and Russian ambassador. Was he getting marching orders, latest marching orders from Putin? What was it? Ton of cut. Well, what I am getting, this is the happy family, and she is styling in that zebra stripe bathing suit. But there is just this absolute in ruins mess over here, and zombies coming toward them. But they're just, and it really feels like inside the Oval Office, during the meeting, it was the stench of this. The impeachment moving forward, all of this, the stench was hanging over what was going on in the Oval Office. Well, they tried to pretend for a while. They tried to pretend. Well, we'll see what the cards say, but I'm feeling like Trump was, pulling a kind of help me, do me a favor though. All right, in the past, Knight of Wands. This is weird. This card, this Knight of Wands card, is coming up for the right-wing media. Almost, even though he's holding on to the reins, it's almost like a microphone. And they're, raising their hand to ask a question, but it's not actually there. It's kind of gross and bloodied, and the rot is fully set in. And so even when things like this happen, Fox News and all the right-wing media was securely behind him. So he could get away with all kinds of stuff. Center of the reading, Nine of Swords. Notice how this nurse is trying to help this man who's suffering from the rot. But this is, this is certainly, I think it was the assistant communications director who put out the statement about what they talked about, supposedly. And that feels like this person trying to make this look better than it is, make Trump look better, healthier than he is. Less of the moral rot having set in. Okay, fair enough. We are at the meeting. Base of the reading. Queen of Swords, a nice house coat and the slippers, and a beer. A couple of beers. Is that a beer? Looks like a beer. And someone who put their foot wrong and got it taken off by a bear trap. This, again, I'm getting Fox News. Quite often for the sword cards, especially the court sword cards, I get investigators, but this feels like Fox News. With the big fake smile while they're just doing really scary stuff. 8 of Cups. This is trying to get a little extra shopping in as the apocalypse is coming down. Yeah, this feels like, again, it's the stench. Trying to pretend everything's okay, but inside the White House, it's the storm, the stench, the zombies, the rot, the infection, yeah. Okay. They're trying to keep up the facade, though. Above the reading, Justice and the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords has to do with decisions, but specifically in this deck, if you look more closely at the Two of Swords, it isn't just someone holding the two swords. They've obviously just swung them around and it's decapitated this zombie and it's hurt this person, and it's kind of swinging wildly, blindly, because they fear justice is coming. So that would be Trump. Near future. This is going to be, I got this when I read on William Barr, that the moral rot is set in with him, but the others are going to start coming apart because the moral rot is so bad that people around him are going to start coming apart. That's not necessarily Barr, but it's one of the people who are going to, as things start coming apart. Above that, 8 of Swords, being hemmed in with the rot. This feels like the impeachment vote. This feels like even more stuff coming out, or just actually not even just more stuff coming out, it revisiting things from talking about in the Mueller report on the news. They're talking more about things that have led up to this. Everything from Charlottesville to baby cages to just the huge list. Emoluments, obstruction of justice, however bazillion times he's done that. And then that feels like the impeachment vote, really trapping. He's not completely over, it's not the strongest thing. It's like chicken wire holding this figure in there, but it's gonna leave a stain. Home environment, the 7 of Swords. Oh, talk about throwing somebody off the bus or kicking them down the stairs, because why waste the bullets, in your Uzi? So as this is people turning on each other. It doesn't necessarily feel like Democrat. It feels like the Trump family comes up in this deck as they look fine. They're actually the source of the rot, but they look fine, and that's what this feels like. Almost an Ivanka Jared situation, but yeah. Talk about a femme fatale. All right, hopes and fears. Well, there's the sun. Yeah, Trump. He wants Russia to just cheat, just bring in the helicopter and just fly me out. That's what he wants. Now, is he actually asking for? I don't think he's asking for safe haven yet. But let me see. Let us see. Get me out of here, but definitely the word that's coming to mind is cheat. He wants the Russians to cheat to save him. And he's making all kind of promises. That's what that feels like. So is that an actual get me out of here, or is that just, just a cheat on the election? Is that a help me, I'll help you, do us a favor, or is that actual get me an actual mode of transportation to get me out of here? Kushner. Judgment's coming. Feels like judgment's coming and leaving Kushner behind somehow. Just protect his family. Also leaving Melania and Baron behind. Yep. Protect Ivanka and Junior. Maybe Eric. Anything else on this? Oh, honestly, I'm not kidding. What's coming into my head is fourth wife. Not saying he's going to have one, saying he is actually thinking about the fourth wife. Wow. And he's angry at Melania that she hasn't done what he wanted. He's had to force her to play first lady, and wow. What other people see, it's just commonplace. The rot. It's just you don't even have to force people to be near it or it's just there, and they're just they're just blind in the cult, and you just want to go hello, wave your hand in front of their eyes. Very foolish to ask. Basically, he's asking Putin for help. That's what that feels like, and that's a really, really dumb idea, and not just it feels like it's a dumber. It's not just for the impeachment thing. There's something really dangerous about that. I'll ask for some qualifiers, but that's... Oh, you... Trump, you idiot. 5 of Swords, it's the thief card. Stealing, fighting over the one weapon. People turning against each other. 9 of Cups, this is... she has lots of ammunition. And this is a staircase, this is a basement. And if you ignore this circle with this, where she's dreaming of this lovely idyllic spot, she's actually in a basement. And those are the stairs coming down, and there's a door here. This is a water heater. This is related to that. There's cinder block walls. But she has lots of ammunition, and she has her blankie. And she's thinking about this ideal, lovely, dream. That feels like Trump asking for help, but it doesn't come through. And the people in the administration start attacking each other. Ooh, this is a lot more dynamic than I thought it would be, as far as what they're trying to do. 5 of Hazards, being forced out onto the streets. 5 of Wands, more fighting, more arguing. This is gonna sound strange, but it's like as people are forced out, it's almost like the divided country starts to maybe come back together a little bit. That Trump is so bad that, obviously he has his core supporters who they're in the cult. They just are. They would literally need to be deprogrammed. But this feels like the moderates and starting to say, okay, that was really bad, and starting to not kind of hate him more than they hate each other. Meanwhile, the Republicans this feels like senators and representatives and whatever the equivalent of Jordan and Gates and, whoever, they're fighting over scraps. Ace of Cups, Star, and the 10 of Swords. Yeah, that's Trump, completely taken apart. This was a grand Russian experiment. Anguish, hate, envy, love, sadness, hunger, satisfaction, fear. It was the social media taking advantage of, could they mess with our heads? And this star feels like a medal that Russians will feel like they deserve. This is all of the social media, the mess with our heads, and it was a grand experiment. Obviously not the Order of Lenin, but they yay, and Trump is left in pieces. Do not ask the Russians for help. It's bad, because it feels like they're gonna turn on him. Are they actually gonna turn on him? No, they're gonna try to do more of the same to a certain extent, but it's not gonna work, because while they're feeling all smug, their success is actually more limited than they realize. 4 of Hazards, where he's got supplies and there are people begging to come in, but he's got his fingers stuck in his ears. They're not going to help Trump. And they're just going to, you know, it cost them very little. It did a huge amount of damage in the West. They can just take their little successes and they can just go home. And people like Barr and Graham are still going to be lapdogs and trying to mess with people's heads, but it stinks now. See the difference where this is, oh, we'll play with these different feelings. Now it's starting to smell. Trump has his lapdogs, and this feels like, you know, Hannity trying to go after whistleblowers or anybody who's just trying to do their jobs. And this is the rallies. There's serious Trump here. But yeah, it's not going to work. They're just going to, the Russians are just going to take their success and go home. And that's Trump the Emperor trying to save us from those people, you know, people willing to walk thousands upon thousands of miles in desperation, you know, standing against those people desperately trying to save their children. Again, I'm getting a Kushner vibe where, you see how he's kind of run into this very gently, but he's had a car accident, but it's just a street lamp. He's just kind of run into it, and then he's been there so long that it's like cobwebs are building up because he's trapped there in this mess. Khashoggi and Saudi Arabia. Yeah, Barr just, I'm sick of Barr. I'm sick of his energy. People, his base watching Fox News, watching it all come down, and then we watch it all come down on TV. So that's what I'm getting. Yeah, that was a really dumb. That was, they're not going to be able to help you. They're going to take their success and they're going to go back to Russia and laugh at us, laugh at America, and laugh at Trump. And the infighting is going to start among the Republicans here at some point, and it's just very ugly. It's very ugly and it stinks. And that is our president, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to get uglier than I thought it would. I don't know why. I actually thought that it would just be, you know, the same old, but it feels, not just because of these cards, just in general, I'm getting that it's going to be uglier when people start turning on each other, and it's just going to get icky. Like, things are going to come out, like, let me ask, but it's like things are going to come out where it's just like, ew, I don't want to know that. Yeah, the rot's worse, the corruption's worse. The rot is, you know, people waiting to go into hearings. People waiting to go into hearings later on. This isn't just impeachment, this is later on. People out in the waiting area to come in, but they've, yeah, these all sitting outside the hearings, the hearing rooms, the courtrooms. I hope, what's her name? Kellyanne. Oh, Kellyanne thinks she's just going to be on a beach somewhere, but yeah, it's a really nasty kind of oil slick beach. And other people who they've rotted beyond belief. This feels like senators, and the corruption and what they've done with the Russians, and yeah, the Democrats coming in and it feeling to them like they're on a rampage, and it's just a matter of time. All right, so thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to my patrons. The channel it could not exist without you. So thank you, and we'll get through this, but whew, this is gonna get ugly. Ooh, get your popcorn. There are some crazy days ahead, but good ones. There are good days ahead too. All right, thank you.